Ladies and gentlemen, Giovannie Cruz.
Yeah.
Hi. She's tired. She's jet lagged, but she's here.
But she's here. That is,
She's
give
here.
her another round of applause just for that.
That was funny.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thanks for inviting me. I knew I wanted to talk to you guys today because I was like, you know what? I'll just come back from the Guardians premiere. I'll have a lot to say about my experience there because it's my first premiere. I learned a lot. So I was like, let's do it today.
Most
But
definitely.
now I'm like regretting. I'm like, man, I'm tired. We are exhausted.
I'm so sorry. I thought about it too. I was like, I hope she'll be okay. And we're gonna talk about all of that. And I was just like saying, I was like, man, hopefully she'll be okay, because I know those events could be different for you. But that, like I said, thank you again for joining us. So blessed, so honored.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, before we go ahead and get things started, we want to learn more about you first. So let's tell us your journey and how you got started in this world of acting.
Oh man. You know, some people crack me up. They're like, I did a show in college and it changed my whole life. And I'm like, really? You started in college? That's all it took? Like, and good for you. And they're always the ones that are so successful because they have no bad habits, right? But for me, like, I was a show baby. I mean, I could dance and sing before I could talk. I was just goofing off and making people laugh. I grew up in a home with very young parents who were very stressed out all the time. And there was a lot of disharmony in the household. So I learned if I could make people smile and entertain, that was like a survival mechanism for me. I could keep people smiling. I could keep them on the good side. And so my dad introduced me to Broadway real young. They put me in voice lessons. Like, I think I was like 5 whenever they put me in voice lessons. I mean, my parents recognized I had a talent, and we didn't have a lot of money, but they at least tried to foster that talent. And small town, there's like one person that does music lessons in the whole town. It's usually the lady at the Baptist church, that runs the gospel choir. So like I was the like only light-skinned girl in the gospel choir, like doing all that stuff. But yeah, it's just, school, singing in choir at school, acting in all the plays in school, taking lessons from this lady in her garage studio. And then just kind of coming up and just doing whatever I could to act or sing or dance. And I focused the most on music because that was the most accessible to me at the time.
Right.
And so, I mean, I would sing wherever I could. I would do the national anthem at every football game. I mean, I grew up in Texas, so football games are huge. Everybody shows up. There are 3 things to do. There are 3 things to do on a Friday night in Texas, right? The movie theater, the football game, or stay your ass at home. Like,
right.
with your friends. Like, there's nothing else to do in a small town Texas on a Friday night. So I would go to all the football games and make myself available to sing at all the football games. And eventually I was able to make it up to the University of North Texas. I got an opera department. I got into the opera department there. Listen, y'all, if I knew then what I knew now, I would have applied to Juilliard, gotten in on the scholarship for low income.
Yeah.
Right. And just the other one I really wanted to do was Yale. I would have applied to Yale, gone, because I was so dang poor. But also when you're that poor, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And
Right.
I didn't know that all of these schools, all of these Ivy League schools have resources for low income talent. That all you have to do is apply. And even you don't even have to pay the application fee half the time. If you show the proof of, your FAFSA, whatever, you don't even have to pay the application fee. They can see that you're dirt poor. You know what I mean? And so if I knew then what I knew now, I would have applied to all these schools on the East Coast and tried to get into those. But instead, I was top 10% of my school, which meant I had entry to any school in the state of Texas. And the one that everyone kept telling me to go to was UNT, because UNT has the best music department. in the state and a very competitive one in the country. So I went there. I got into the opera program. I hated it because it was a bunch of stilted white folk. No offense, white folk out there, but it was just like there was no room for people of color. There was no room for women. There was no room for, and that to me was a huge disparity and a huge, just a huge shame because there's so many talented people of color that wanted to do that kind of work. And the price of entry was, are you a man? Are you white? And I was neither. So I couldn't really function in that world. They kept telling me, well, when you're 40, and I'm like, I don't want to wait till I'm 40 to work.
Right.
You don't want to grow into my skill. Like, no, I don't want to wait till I'm 40. I'm talented now. I'm here now. I want to work now. So I was like, well, I've always been a singer who acts. Let me be an actress who sings.
There you go.
And bam, that was it. I switched to film and TV and I hit the road running, immediately started doing commercials, started doing jingles, started doing voiceover. I mean, it took a couple of years for me to understand that mind shift of that business because it's very different from opera. But once I got in, I mean, I did whatever I could to reinvest in myself and re-educate myself to do that. And so, yeah, it's been 10 years and I would say I'm doing okay.
Yeah. That's cool. You also do voiceover acting as well, right?
I do a lot of anime. So I got involved in anime through singing. So even though I was for a long time a singer first and an actress second, and I hated my degree, like I could not wait to graduate. Dropping out was not an option for me. I was like, I can do nothing else. I'm not good at science. I'm not good at math. I don't want to be a lawyer. I don't want to be stressed out my whole life, she said at the time. She just didn't know what kind of stress she was picking is what happened. But I had a friend at UNT who was do y'all watch anime?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So some of these names might if you're a big fan, some of these names might blow your mind. But I had a friend who was a regular on Dragon Ball Z.
Oh man.
And she was a college student while she was doing Dragon Ball Z. And she kept telling me, I think he'd be so good in voiceover. I think he'd be so good in voiceover. I think you should try anime. And I was like, girl, I don't know the first thing about anime. The only anime I know is Pokemon. Like, I don't really watch anime. Like, I don't even watch TV. Like, and she's like, no, just come out, just audition. You know, we need people with voices that they know how to manipulate their voices. It doesn't matter. We'll coach you. And so she coached me into an audition, and I auditioned and eventually got into some idol animes where it's required to sing and voice act, and they needed people who could actually sing. So I started doing the idol animes and kind of cutting my teeth there. And then eventually now I'm like a regular at Crunchyroll. So I go in, I have, roles. I audition for things all the time for them. And yeah, and I'm on a few shows right now doing anime, but even that's like a whole nother animal. But if it wasn't for the voice work that I did, that I invested in, even though I didn't know, I was like, what am I going to do with an opera degree? Like but I knew I had to finish. And I knew I had to network. And because I kind of stayed in and I stuck with it and I didn't quit before the miracle happens, as Harvey, likes to say, I stayed in and met this girl, and she just took a liking to me and just was like, please do this thing with me. And so I've been doing that, and that's been, a survival job for me and it's a fun survival job because it's anime. I get to do the wackiest things.
Cool.
Go
What's your favorite anime?
My favorite anime? Oh, I like the obscure ones. And I don't, like I said, I don't watch a lot of anime. I tend to watch the ones that I'm in and some that my friends are in. But there was one that caught my attention some years ago. I had a bunch of friends in it, and so I started watching it, and it was Attack on Titan.
That's the one. That is the one. Yeah.
So like the first I watched like the first 3-4 seasons. I kind of fell off because I was like, it's getting weird. But like the first 3-4 seasons of Attack on Titan, I was obsessed.
Yeah.
Obsessed.
Yeah.
There's another one that I think that's kind of funny called Assassination Classroom.
Mm.
It's goofy. I'm not in that one either, but I just think it's silly. But my favorite one right now is one that I'm in, and only because it's whack. It is so whack. It's like I watch it and I'm like, oh my God, this is for 13-year-olds in Japan. And just to give you a little clarity on that show, I play a dominatrix librarian who whips people. And this show was meant for 13-year-olds in Japan.
All right. Well, okay.
Yeah. So I'm just
Anime
like,
world.
what is happening? It's crazy. But that one's called Fruit of Evolution, and it's a good time. I call it brain candy because it doesn't matter. Like Attack on Titan is like, ooh, this is interesting. There's all this subversive stuff happening. But like Fruit of Evolution literally is brain candy. It's like you're watching it and you're like, I don't want to think right now. I just want to be entertained. I just want to turn off my brain. Like it's that. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Love it. And that's what anime is, from My Hero Academia and all the other ones, Dragon Ball Z, Naruto.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and so it's cool. So it's like, it's kind of like what you hated, you turn into your strength and progress from it as well too. Because you say that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be clear, I never hated singing.
Right. But the degree.
I hated the politics of the opera world. I hated, it was a very stressful time for me. I mean, being a first generation college student, being the first person in my family to attend university, nobody's telling you what to do, how to do it, how to get there. Nobody has any clue or any insight. So when stuff goes down, you have the added stress of I don't know where to go or who to go to handle this. So it was just college in general would have been stressful as a first gen college student. But then you add on top of that this really difficult degree that I chose for no reason. I mean, not no reason, but because I wanted to perform. I wanted to be a performer. And then having to navigate the politics of that as a brown person and a woman and a young person on top of that. It just wasn't the world that I wanted to exist in. But I found that film acting and theater was a lot more inclusive. And it's funny, we have this conversation about inclusivity a lot, and there's a lot that they still haven't gotten right. It's true. There's a lot they haven't gotten right, but it's still, but if you can imagine this world being more inclusive than the opera world, that's, to me, it was way more welcoming, way more welcoming. But yes, so like putting the classical degree to use, finding ways to put, I'm an inventive human. You can't tell me no. I'm the type of person that if you tell me no and you close the door in my face, I'm gonna find a window to climb through. Like, you cannot tell me no. And I think that comes with the grit that one has when they are a person of color, and a minority. You know what I mean? We're used to getting doors closed in our faces for no reason. Could be your name, could be your ethnicity, it could be your gender. And so I've just found ways to circumvent that. And like, so when I know I want something, you can't tell me no. So I've found a way to take that degree and to use it for the forces of good, and to find a way to make it work for me. And what I found was I had to take language skills in order to get my degree. I had to learn French, Italian, and German. I had to take English diction, French diction, Italian diction, and German diction. So I had to take all these diction classes, all these language classes. I had to learn how to play piano. I had to learn how to read music. I had to learn how to mix well with other singers. All of these things that are skills that I learned with my degree ended up being so useful when it came to playing with others and the theatrical aspect. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you want me to do a French accent? Bet. I got the diction skills for that. You want me to do a British accent? Bet. I got the diction skills for that. You want me to play piano in the scene? Got it. You know what I mean? So I was just like collecting skills. It was just collecting skills and then finding a way to use those skills and apply them to this new world. And I found, because I did into a theater program, that I had a collection of skills that my peers didn't have. It made me more competitive.
Gotcha.
Beautiful.
You know, because
beautiful. I love it.
Yeah. So it's like I coach a lot of actors a lot on their resumes on IMDb. And to try to, you know, I try to coach them the business side of things. And I one of the things that I always recommend is put your degree on your acting resume. I want to know if you're an engineer. I want to know if you're a scientist. I want to know if you went to school for business or law or accounting or social studies or history. I want to know that stuff because it informs me. If I'm the casting director, it informs me a little bit about who you are and what you're interested in. Not only that, but if I'm casting something historical, a Western, you know, Texas gets a lot of Westerns, right?
Right.
If I cast something historical, I know that you're going to have an appreciation of that history. If I need a sci-fi person and I need somebody to explain all the science jargon, I'm going to know that you, with your science degree, understand what you're saying. You know, granted, actors can fake this, sure, but isn't it easier to get someone who can't fake it, or who won't, you know, who knows what they're saying?
Right.
Because I tell people that all the time too with their acting resumes. Like, don't just do acting, find other skills that you can do so that way you can stand out from others, like from stunt training, gun training, piano, all that.
Yeah.
So that was great. Nice gem to drop right there for our viewers. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously, yes, spend the time in acting classes, get involved in your community, you know, focus on developing your craft. Absolutely. But when it's slow, and listen, we're about to hit a writer's strike. We know it's going to be slow. Everyone's prepared for at least 3 months of strike. This is the time, just like COVID was the time. This is the time, excuse me, this is the time to go try that skill that you're too scared to try because you're afraid it'll take you away from work. You know, if you want to try martial arts, but you're like, oh, classes are 3 times a week. And it's kind of like 2 hours a night. It's kind of intense. I don't know if I want to do that. Now is the time. Go do it. Or, you know, carve out the time for yourself, because it does come back around. It does come back around. All of these special skills that you can put on your resume, and your friends and your family might laugh at you because you're playing pretend, or you've got all these hobbies, but you know what I mean? Like, they're useful. These things that make you will come in handy one day.
Amen.
Definitely agree. Now, let's get into some of your career accolades here. Now, you were on Queen of the South and NCIS and a handful of other shows. Is there a difference? Well, what's the difference to you in film and working on those sets?
I'm sure you've heard this before. So the difference between TV and film, in my experience, is that TV moves a lot faster.
Right.
It moves really fast. With Queen of the South, so I had a unique experience with Queen of the South because I was an actor that worked in the writer's room capacity. So what they wanted was they wanted actors that were available, that were bilingual. Again, hello, use your skills. They wanted actors that were available, that were bilingual, that could come in and read the scripts out loud. They needed to hear these characters in life. And so they would have table reads every week. And they were on an 8-day schedule. So they were on a 16-day schedule, but the way they would block it is they had an A block and a B block. So they had the A block would pre-production for 8 days, then shoot for 8 days. And then while they were shooting, the B block would pre-produce for 8 days and then shoot for 8 days. So it happened so fast. And even though they were working on the scripts in advance, those scripts underwent major changes depending on how that show ended up being shot and edited. you know,
Right.
so pre-production time was very important. It moved very fast. And then, so I did that for 2 years, and they kept saying to me, we need to find a place for you in the show. We need to find a place for you in the show. And eventually they found a place for me in the show. That was originally written as an MOS character, which means I had no lines originally. But they were throwing me a bone because they liked me. And I remember showing up to set, and they mic'd me up, and I go, I don't have any lines. Why are you micing me up? They're like, oh, it's just for just in case. Bet. And we ended up improvising that whole scene. We ended up improvising our whole scene, and the whole scene made it in. So just to show, like, that is a major change that happened on the day that ended up, you know, changing the structure of the show, that episode. So, you know, it moves so fast, and so yeah, it was like an 8-day thing. But even when we were shooting, they had 4 cameras. They cross shot, right? So they just found their angles and cross shot, and we got like 2 takes. That's it. We would get the first take. Okay, go. Okay, make some adjustments. Second take. Okay, go. Maybe a third take, but most likely not. I mean, they move that fast. Film, on the other hand, I have spent entire days on 1/8 of a page.
Oof.
You know,
Yeah.
You know, so we're spending 14 hours to get 1/8 of a page. So, and it's this angle and that angle, and flipping the set and changing the lights and and it's, yeah. So it's, television is go, go, go. Film is like, you have to have, so it's like the difference between a marathon and a race. You know, TV is the race, film is the marathon.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said.
Yes.
And we tell people that all the time when they said, like, when we get others, friends or whatever, say, we want to be an actor. And I was like, do you have patience? Do you have endurance? Because there will be times where you are on set, sometimes for 15 plus hours.
Yeah.
There's more. So you got to ask yourself that. And then some people are like, yeah. And then I'm like, okay. So when we bring our friends or whoever on the set, they're like, oh yeah, they, you know, taking pictures or so. I'm on set, and then the 3rd or 4th hour go by, and they're like, okay, so when do we finish? I'm like, I told you.
Yeah.
They don't give you a time.
And how many times have you shown up and not been used the whole day, and your whole day was literally sitting around?
Yeah.
That's it.
It
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they didn't get to you, or they didn't get to that scene, or they moved things around, or they changed things, and now you're not in the scene, or maybe they thought you were. I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
It happens. I had a friend who was on Guardians with me, and she had several days like that where she was just, you know, in holding.
Yeah.
And she's like, what, why am I here? And she's just sitting around, hanging around for 14 hours. So it happens. And that's where mindset, having a mindset that appreciates the business comes into play.
Yeah.
Because like you said, James, you've got to have, like, your friends that are like, your friends are used to 9 to 5s, or they're used to like the go, 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 or like moving all day, having a task all day. But in our line of work, the task is being in front of camera or preparing to be in front of camera. And that is it.
That's it.
That's it. Stay awake, do your job. Like, that's it. And people are like, well, that sounds really easy, but it's not. It's not easy, because you can't have whatever you have, whatever business or whatever's going on in holding or behind the screen. I mean, it could be hour 12 and you've been sitting around for 10 hours and you're falling asleep and you're tired. But now you've got to go run around on set and pretend like a giant ghost monster is chasing you. I don't know, whatever. But, you know, you've got to pretend like you're in this moment and it's fresh for you. And you have to find ways to be like, all right, let's go. Let's keep it. Let's keep it going. You know, not to mention the days where you're on set for 14 hours, but you're actually like working the whole time and doing scenes, and the scenes are intense and you have to refresh your brain every take. I mean, it could go either way. So yeah, I mean, it's not for everybody, for sure.
No.
going and you gotta do a fight scene, do it again, run it again, run it
Run
again.
again, run again, do this scene, this angle. Then okay, now do it in this angle. Then okay, now move your body this way.
All for them to use 3 seconds of it, right?
That's it. That's it. Well, say it this way or say it that way.
Yeah. So
Yes,
on
ma'am.
Suicide Squad, I shot a whole scene that got cut. So I spent a whole day. It was the hardest day of my life for various reasons, shooting a scene that eventually got cut from the film. You know, but that's the job.
Right.
That's the job. It's not glorious. It's not fun. It's not always fun. It's not always glorious. It's work. It's work.
Right.
It's just a different kind of work. And I wouldn't do anything else. I would never, I still to this day ask myself and check in with myself because I think it's important. Like, could I do anything else? Yeah. Do I want to do anything else? Absolutely not. Even when things get hard, even when we're under the stress of COVID or a strike or, you know, not working for months, like I still can't see myself doing anything else.
I agree. I agree. So, and let's go ahead and let's dip into the premiere and everything.
Yes, I'm sure you guys are curious.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, we all of us are. I know you can't. We know how it is with Marvel. You can't.
Yeah.
It's like that Fight Club thing. Don't talk about Fight Club unless it's about Fight. And so, tell us about your experience with being on. Now, you said not the red carpet, but the purple carpet.
The purple carpet. Yeah, Marvel has a purple carpet.
Yeah.
We do not have a red carpet. Let me tell you what I learned. Let me tell you what I learned. Don't ever let anybody tell you no. Find a way to spin their no into a yes. And I'm going to tell you why I'm telling you this in a second. Find a way to spin a no into a yes, always. And always be prepared. Because I will tell you what, I've been saying for the last year, I'm going to that premiere. 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 So I've been preparing to go to the premiere. And because when I did Suicide Squad, and I was a character with a name in Suicide Squad, even though the scene got cut, whatever. I was there. I did the work.
Yes, you did.
Thank you. And I still made it into the movie. It's just not as much as it would have been. But I wasn't invited to the premiere.
Gotcha.
Oh, wow.
I was not invited to the premiere. In fact, a lot of actors were not invited to the premiere. And I kept thinking, what the heck is this about? I didn't get an invitation to the premiere, but so-and-so who wasn't even in the movie and her boyfriend got invited to the premiere. I, who worked in the film, did not get invited to the premiere. So here's the thing, guys. In these major motion pictures, there is now a shift. In the past, the premiere was for the cast and the crew. It was for them to enjoy the film for the first time together, with their families and friends and some press. Now premieres are all press events. And there are people that are invited that have absolutely nothing to do with the film. And a lot of them are low-rank social media personalities. And it's like, why is so-and-so who's got so many followers, not more followers than me? Actually, everybody has more followers than me, let's be real. But like, their whole presence is social media. That's it. That's all they do. That's their job. Right. And my job is to act and do the movie. And I did this movie and I didn't get invited and they got invited, So, but for platforms like Warner Brothers or Disney or Paramount or whoever, it's all about the publicity.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they're like, you got paid, you're good. You'll watch it with your friends and family when you go to the movie theater. Like that's how it is now. So I had to find a way again. They closed the door in my face, so I found a way in. So I had to find a way to make this red carpet and to go. And I learned a lot about this experience. So yeah, the first thing I learned was just because you were in the movie, don't expect a ticket.
Okay.
because it's probably not coming your way unless you're the star.
Mm.
And so, you know, if you do a big movie, have them add it to your writer. That's where it needs to go.
Mm.
Mm.
So like if you do a big movie and you have a big enough or at least a competitive enough role in the film, have your agent or manager negotiate tickets to the premiere in your contract.
Nice.
That way you're guaranteed those tickets and you don't have to fight the way I just fought to get into this premiere, you know, and they're not sending it to press or randos, you know.
Right.
So that's the first thing I learned from this whole experience. Put it in your writer. Second thing I learned from this experience is if they don't invite you to the premiere, get a good publicist.
Mm-hmm.
Because the publicist has connections and can confirm that you worked on this movie and are available to attend the premiere. And they know it is their job to spin every no into a yes. So they know how to make it work just enough to be like, you know, to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't get invited to a premiere, hire a good publicist. Now, again, that's money out of your pocket, but we all know this business, you reinvest in yourself, right? Because all the publicity that I got from this event is going to compound more publicity, which will compound my credibility in the world as an actor, which will then compound the people that want to hire me, right? So it's all a business tactic. So if it's money out of your pocket, and then the third thing I learned is don't be surprised if everything comes through at the last minute. So make sure you're ready. Make sure you are ready. Make sure you got your team ready, you got your clothes ready, you got your tickets ready, your hotel ready, because a lot of that stuff is refundable if you don't make it in, right? But in the off chance that everything comes together at the last moment, you want to be prepared. And that's pretty much what happened to me. Everything came together about a week and a half before, and I had to run and get a stylist and put a team together to help me get ready, and make a whole schedule. And it ended up becoming a job, like just schedule. Like I was my own production coordinator for this premiere, and so then I got in and got on the red carpet. But again, like this is all the behind the scenes stuff that people don't tell you because they want it to be glamorous and they want it to be like they want to be gatekeepers. And they don't want to tell you how they accomplish XYZ because it may not be the sexiest thing. Yeah, I had to hire a publicist to get in. That's not sexy. I had to hire a publicist to get in a movie that I already acted in. They already worked in. And I had to have enough faith in myself to say I deserve to be here.
Yeah.
Joe Schmo, cosplayer with 50,000 followers does not deserve to be here more than I deserve to be here.
Right.
Right. You see what I'm saying?
I agree. You did the work. You put in the work.
I did. I put in the work. I was there for 3 months in Atlanta, living in a hotel, locked in because of COVID. I earned this spot.
Right.
And I had to make sure they gave it to me. So yeah. But the experience itself, like walking that purple carpet,
amazing.
It was all worth it.
So worth it.
That's good.
So worth it. And watching the movie with my friends and others, it was a unique experience because I'm watching the actors watch themselves on screen. So I need to watch it again, to be honest with you. Like I watched it and yes, I had the moments and I was like, huh, but I was watching, the actors like watch themselves and gauging their reaction. Like that to me is really interesting. Like, so it was just like, that's most of how I spent the movie. It was like
just watching them watch themselves.
What can you tell us about the film or what to expect from this film?
Oh, what can I tell you?
What can you?
Because we don't want more.
We don't want more. We gotta look.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I think I'm okay. Look, I'm good at not spoiling things. I will say, we can expect. So, James Gunn is a great storyteller. I think we can agree on that. And the first Guardians movie was about Quill finding his family. And the second one was about Quill, or the first movie was more about Quill understanding his mother and the new family. The second story was about Quill understanding his father and you know, his family. This last film is about the family.
Right.
You know, so it's not necessarily just about Quill anymore. It is we start to understand more about Rocket, about Nebula, about Mantis. It is more about the family at this point. And honestly, it's probably my favorite one. And not because I'm in it, because I'm a huge Marvel fan. I think this movie is the best movie since. So I think this movie is as competitive as Wakanda Forever. I think it's as competitive as Wakanda Forever, and Wakanda Forever was good for me. I think it's as competitive as that. And that to me was like the last good Marvel movie. But like the last good Marvel movie was Avengers Endgame.
That's what they've been saying.
Yeah.
They've been saying that this has been the best one since Avengers Endgame.
And I think not to raise the ceiling too high, but I think it's as competitive as Endgame, I think, for me.
Wow.
And that's my unbiased, but that's as a Marvel fan.
Right. There's nothing wrong with you saying it.
Through all the movies. Yeah. So and like I wanted to love Multiverse of Madness. I wanted to love it. My friend Julian is in that film. He plays Scarlet Witch's son, Billy. And so I wanted to love it because I love Julian and I love Elizabeth, you know, as a Scarlet Witch, and I didn't love it. I didn't love it.
Right.
And I didn't love it. And I wanted to love and I did like Wakanda Forever. Actually, I really, really did like Wakanda Forever. But like the ones after that, I'm just like,
Yeah.
And you know, I think
that's how all Marvel fans are. Yeah.
It's okay for you to say that too, because like you said, you have your own opinion about these films, and we do too, because you know we're fans of it and we're hardcore fans of it, and we love these characters so much. And you know, every now and then, you know, you see your favorite film or whatever, you know, take a dip or a dive or go higher or whatever. And that's what we love about this, and it's good that they have somebody on their roster like yourself that cares so much. So that's.
But it was a surreal experience. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I cried on set.
You gonna have grown men crying up in here now? Come on, man.
One of them pursuit happening, bro.
Yeah, when we wrapped,
cry
on the last day. I'm there on the last day. The whole crew's wrapping. Everybody's wrapping. You know, James is. I walked up to James Gunn and literally broke down in his arms like a baby. I was like, oh my God, James. Thank you. I mean, literally, and he's like, okay. He's such a nice guy. He's like, okay, yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool. And I'm like, okay, we'll go down my, you know, just like.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love it. Love it. Oh my God. Love it. So a few more questions and you know we'll get you out of here. So let's double back real quick because it was a question I wanted to ask you. You're a dog lover.
A dog lover?
Are you a dog lover? Do you love dogs?
Yeah, I mean I've got my little guy right behind me snoring like Darth Vader. I love dogs.
Yeah. Okay, I want that. So do you love all animals or is it just specifically dogs?
No, I love all animals.
Gotcha.
But I will only keep dogs.
Of course.
Just yeah. No, I love all animals, but I will only keep dogs.
Yeah.
Is there somewhere we're going with this?
No, well, I was like, because I saw it, I was like, she really loves dogs. Like I'm a dog lover as well too, and I was wondering like, what type of dogs do you have? Because like, I can't afford one right now.
Yeah, I was late coming here because I was busy brushing my dog. I got American Bulldog. She's a big girl. She's a big girl. She's a big baby. She's all down, looking depressed, and I'm like, "What's wrong with you? You don't have any bills to pay."
Yeah.
But yeah, I was busy brushing her coat, making her feel better, and after this, I'm gonna go, play with her. But yeah, she's a big.
Aw. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I love all animals. I'm a huge animal lover. But the reason I say I will only keep dogs is because I have family members that are sensitive to all, everything.
Yeah.
And but I mean, so like for me, my dog is hypoallergenic.
Oh,
So like, well, people can come over and I'm not worried about them having allergies or having a reaction to him or whatever, but I will probably always have a dog. I was shooting, honestly, pretty much everything I've ever shot has had a set dog. Either there's a dog in the makeup trailer or one of the leads. Like when I was doing Guardians, Dave's pit bulls came to set. He's got at the time he had 2 rescue pit bulls and then he rescued one more. So the puppy that he rescued came to set. She was still a puppy. But she came to set and and then of course we had Cosmo, the Cosmo dog on set.
Yeah, the Cosmo dog. Yeah.
And yeah, that dog is so much energy. And then there was a set of puppies in the hair and makeup trailer for the Legacy Effects guys. They had their own puppies. I mean, every set I've been on. When I was in Suicide Squad, there was a Pomeranian that lived in the makeup trailer. When I was on Beverly Hills Cop 4, one of the leads had you couldn't walk by her trailer. There were 3 dogs in there.
wow.
I just think having animals around on set when you have those long days, and they can be stressful. I just think they're really good for the soul, and I think they're just calming people down and keeping them sane. Yeah.
Nice.
So I will probably be that actor that if I have a big enough trailer, I'm gonna have dogs in my trailer.
Yeah.
Write that down. Recommended.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because when you're all day, you need sometimes I think it's helpful to have something to put your attention on other than yourself on those days. Because if it's all about you, you start to get stressed and wound up and stuff. But if you have to take care of something else, to me, that helps keep me grounded.
Right. Right.
Agreed. So I have one last question for you. You won an award for a short film, Poolside, right?
Yes. Yeah. That was Poolside. We've done a couple short films. There was one I directed, and there was Poolside I acted in. And as you know, when you're starting off, you take almost anything you can get: short films, student films, all of that included. And so Poolside was something that we shot early on in my career, but it didn't come out until over COVID. And the reason being is the producer and the director had cancer and was struggling with cancer and was trying to survive it, and he didn't. And so the cinematographer ended up taking over the project as a legacy and completing it on his behalf. And the film ended up doing quite well in the film festival circuit. It made circus. It's kind of how I feel about it. But it made it to Cannes. It made it to all over the country, LA Film Festival, other film festivals, and it became an audience favorite. So yeah, it's a short film. I don't have a huge part in it. There aren't that many actors in it, but the actors that are in it, and again, a lot of us shot it at the beginning of our careers. It's really interesting because now we're all doing things all these years later, So there's a woman named Ann Baer who led it. She is a regular on For All Mankind and doing all sorts of other things like The Chosen and some other things. And then there's a man named Oscar Sung who was in it, and he's a phenomenal actor that's up, doing some great things. I'm in it doing some, so it's really interesting how to see where we were at the beginning of our career and kind of where we are.
Full circle bonus, man.
I love it.
I love it too.
Yeah. I love
Yeah.
rooting my friends on. I love, like, I'm not a competitive actor at all. I don't believe in competition in acting because I think there's room for everybody. I think
Right.
we make room for everybody. And when we make room for everybody, it's like, that's more powerful, right? And
Right.
so, like, I have friends that are doing things, man. Oh, you would not believe. And I'm so excited for them. I'm so excited for them.
Yeah.
And, you know, you'll see me posting on my Instagram a lot, like cheering my friends on, or like, you know, so-and-so's doing Grey's Anatomy and so-and-so's doing this and so-and-so's doing that. And like, I love it. Yeah. I'm always going to cheer my friends on.
Likewise, same here. That's what we do. And I like what you said too. Make room, because that's going to lead to one of our last final questions was representation. And you know, women of color, you know, different nationalities. Do you feel like it's getting better for us all, especially for women? Because you know, we see that women are stepping into these bigger and more stronger roles, and we love that. But we also want to see more of people of, you know, like I said, color,
Yeah.
race, getting
Yeah.
that limelight. Do you think we're really stepping into getting better in the film industry and TV?
Yeah. I think it's slow coming.
Hmm.
One of my main complaints 7 years ago, I was working a show. I was working a show that had only white hair and makeup artists.
Hmm.
They didn't know how to handle my skin, my eyes shape, my lips. You know, they made me look horrible. The makeup was horrible because they're used to doing makeup on white girls with European faces. I'm a Creole girl from the Caribbean, so like I have features that are not white, they're not black, they're mixed, and they couldn't really do my makeup. They couldn't really do my hair. I have very curly, coarse hair. And they couldn't do my hair. Like they didn't know what to do with my hair. And so I literally they were like done with me, and I went into my trailer and I fixed my own hair and makeup because they couldn't do it. Now, I'm a light-skinned person, but I've had a lot of my Black girlfriends say, "Oh, I carry my own foundation. I show up with my face done and let them make adjustments. I show up with my hair done and I let them make adjustments because the world has not been kind to Black women or Black men when it comes to HMU in the film and TV world. But I can say with absolute certainty, the last set I was on, almost I would say 85%. The 85% of the Black of the show was Black, had Black representation, and
Nice.
85 of the 8th hair and makeup trailer had Black representation. So I'm like, aha, we're getting it now. And a lot of it in the past was access. You know, people of color didn't know how to get into this world of crewing, for instance, crewing for a film. And they didn't know how to, like, you know, we need barbers. A lot of barbers didn't know how to get in as a barber to do HMU or to do that kind of work as a crew member. But thanks to like Ava DuVernay's company, thanks to Spike Lee's company, people are really trying to hire people that look like them to work on the actors that look like them. The other thing I've noticed, a lot of female cinematographers. Nearly every set I've been on in the recent past has had a female, at least one on the camera department. Whether they're the AC, so assistant camera, or, you know, leading a camera unit, there's at least one woman. Never would have seen that in the past.
Right.
Never. And a lot of argument in the past was that women are too short and the equipment is too heavy. But with, you know, DSLR, and women are clever as heck.
Yes.
I mean, put them on some Apple boxes. They'll make it work.
Yes,
You
indeed.
know, whatever, like whatever, they'll make it work. So I've been seeing a lot more female DPs. So like I've been seeing changes happening. The last couple directors I've had have all been women. Typically it was a man's world, you know, and like the last 2 projects I've been on, the directors were women. And before that, I mean, I think now it's almost equal. I've worked with as many women directors as I've worked with male directors. But in other things there's still sort of the boys club mentality, or the good old boy club
Mhm.
mentality, in other things. So I have hope. I think we're moving in the right direction. I'm noticing changes. The changes are slow.
Gotcha.
Right.
But I
Right.
think insofar as the old guard begins to retire or leave or step down, we're recognizing that we need the people that are coming up to represent the actual people, you know, that what we look like. So I think it's just going to be a slow evolutionary process, but I think it is happening. Yeah. Yeah. But that is a big deal to me. It is. And I will always speak out about, like, now, how are you going to have a Black actress and not have a Black hair and makeup artist?
Right.
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 Like, and how are you going to expect her to bring her own wigs, or,
Right.
you know, have this male actor? I've had a male friend. They told him, don't shave. We'll cut your hair on set. They didn't have a barber for him, but they told him, don't shave. I mean, Black man, gorgeous Black man, beautiful hair. He grew out his beard. He grew out his hair. He followed instructions. He followed the assignment, and they were not prepared for him. You know, they didn't have the appropriate tools, or the person who knew how to handle his hair texture and his beard and And so he ended up, he was like, I could have gone to my barber yesterday and had a better job done than this. And now that's on camera, and it lives on camera forever.
Yeah. We love our barbers. We'll fly them out. Wherever they at, we're going.
Yeah. Well, and so that leads me to another, the last point I think I want to make, because I know I've been doing a lot of talking. Y'all, I woke up, I had like 7 hours of sleep, and that's a lot of sleep for me. But like, I hadn't slept the last 2 nights, and I nearly slept through this interview. So the fact that I'm talking this much, bless.
We appreciate it.
We thank you.
But the last point I do want to make is, for every actor, whether you're new or you're kind of in the middle of your game, because I think seasoned actors know this, but I want to encourage new actors. Always ask for what you need to do your job. If you show up on set and they don't have the appropriate tools to do your hair and makeup, check in advance if you can. Check in advance. I always ask before I show up to set, how do you want me to prepare my hair?
Gotcha.
Right? Because I know it's very curly, it's very coarse. They don't always have the people that know how to do it. And I always say, do you want it straight, because it's easier for you to manage, or do you want me to come pre-styled? You know, I always, because again, it's going to exist on camera forever. And I want to look good. And I have not looked good on so many occasions that I refuse. At this point, I refuse to just show up and let them do them, because some of them don't know. I remember being on set, and they put me in costume that was very difficult to get in and out of. I had to have a handler help me go to the bathroom. I couldn't sit for hours. I couldn't, you know what I mean? So at that job, I had to basically stand my ground and ask for what I needed. And here's the thing. The way that I say it is always like, hey, this is what I need to do my job well. I can do the job without it. But if you want me to give you the level of performance that you're expecting out of me, please give me the resources to do that job better.
Right.
You know, and that includes this, and this. So there's a right way and a wrong way to ask for what you need. Being a diva ain't going to get anybody anywhere. It's definitely not going to get you anywhere, because they're going to be like, oh, that person's too hard to work with. I don't want them back on my set.
Right.
But if you say, hey, this wardrobe's really, really difficult. Can I just get a chair on standby nearby where I can just like put a knee up on it or something, or like something to like take this load off my back? I've been standing for 8 hours, like I'm tired. I know I can't really move that much. Can I just have a chair nearby so I could just like put my body weight on it or something so I could rest, however I can rest? And they're more than accommodating. You know what I mean? But you have to, don't be afraid to ask. If you're hungry, if they're rolling through lunch and it's been 7 hours since you had breakfast, and you know, like, kindly ask someone, hey, can I get a banana? I'm really hungry. You know, like, no, I'm working right now. We'll chomp on it in between. I just really need to eat something right now, if that's okay. I don't want to pass out. You know, a lot of times they will accommodate you, but I've just seen actors be too scared. Like they graduate to a level of work, like a major DC film or a major Marvel film or you know, a show or something like this, and they like get too scared to ask for anything. You know,
can't be like that. Yeah, it was a guy that I did a commercial with not too long ago in Oklahoma, and he told me, he said, never, everything can be negotiated. You know,
yeah,
he was telling me all the things, accommodations that he got. I was like, wow, maybe I should have said something.
yeah.
So,
I mean, and that's the other thing, like courtesy, like don't take a job, don't pass up a job because it's too far.
right.
I'm in Dallas. I live in Dallas. Dallas is not Hollywood. Dallas is not Atlanta. Dallas is not New Orleans. And so a lot of times I'll say, hey, I know I'll work as a local hire, but you know, I'm not local. I'm not expecting you to pay my hotel. I'm not expecting you to pay my gas. I'm not expecting you to pay my per diem. That's not the contract I signed up for. But you were aware that I was not a local. Could I have a courtesy hotel?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I know that a lot of these productions have blocks already on hotel rooms in a lot of places. And I'm like, I only need it for one day just to sleep so I could show up on set fresh. Can I have a courtesy hotel?
Yeah.
And because if I had gone through the SAG contractual process as like to the level where they fly you in and they give you the per diem and they give you they have to, so first of all, when you're on that contract, they have to pay all your travel expenses. They have to pay your per diem, and they have to give you a hotel, and they have to pay you on that travel day as a work day.
Right.
So let's say there's a job you really, 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 really want to do, but you're not local. Not signing that contract saves them money, but then you could be like, okay, I didn't sign that contract, but can I have a courtesy hotel?
Yeah.
And it still saves them all that money, you know, but you just have to know. You just have to know these things.
Right.
You know, and the worst they can say is no. The worst, and they're not going to fire you for asking for a courtesy hotel.
No. Right.
Dropping some gems, man.
Wow. Well, thank you for that.
So yeah. So Mike, so you guys are all from Houston?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if you're driving into New Orleans, maybe get that hotel. That's a 5-hour drive, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they like out of New Orleans, they like hiring people within 500 miles. But 500 miles is still like, you're not driving that to go back home in a day.
No.
I mean, you could, but like, what I'm saying is you're not going to drive to work and then drive home, right? Like you're going to drive there, probably stay the night, probably do the shoot, probably stay another night and then go back home, right? Because it's that far, you know, you can't really do it all in one day safely. Yeah. In those instances, be like, yes, I will work as a local hire. Can I have a courtesy hotel? For my safety, can I have a courtesy hotel so that I can do this job for you better? Can I have a courtesy hotel? They will not tell you no, because you're still saving the money.
Yeah. Well, I thank you for that, because they paid for my hotel and my flight, and the guy was saying not all of them going to be able to want to do that, but everything is negotiable. So.
Well, yes, and the thing that I would like, the big takeaway, if I could just send you off with this information, is try to always spin that no to a yes. And the way you spin that no to a yes is you say, how can I serve you? How can I serve you in order to get what I want? Like what, not necessarily like a quid pro quo situation, but like, for instance, saying, oh, well, that's not in our budget. Okay, well, what's in your budget? What is in your budget? If you flying me out here and giving me a hotel is not in your budget. Would just the hotel be in your budget?
Right.
Would just the flight be in your budget?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, ask questions and don't be afraid to like get into the nitty-gritty details. You know, if getting into this premiere, for me, it was like, hey, you know, so can I get a ticket? Okay, yeah. Okay, can I get on the red carpet? Here's, you know what I mean? It was like taking it inch by inch by inch by inch until I got everything that I wanted.
Right.
You know, I didn't ask for it all off the bat. I didn't ask for the whole thing off the bat. I didn't ask them to fly me out there. I said, hey, I'm flying out there on my own, on my own dime. Because if you are an actor and it is in your contract, they have to fly you out there.
Yeah, they do.
That's why I said put it in your negotiate it before you even sign the paperwork. Negotiate that red carpet into your contract, because then they'll fly you out there and they put you up in a hotel. So I said, I'll fly myself out there. I'll get my own housing. I'll get myself to and from the premiere. Can I just get a ticket? And then they gave me a ticket. And then I was like, okay, now that I've got a ticket and I'm going to the premiere, is it possible, since I am a cast member, to walk that purple carpet? I have a handler. I'll hire my own handler. I'll hire my own publicist. Can I just walk? Okay, cool. Bet. Let's go. So that's what I'm saying. Like, just ask for what you need. Ask for what you want. Don't be afraid to ask. The worst they can say is no. They're not going to fire you. They're not going to never hire you again. But do it in a way that is courteous. Do it in a way that is leading with gratitude. And chances are they will always accommodate.
Nice.
Yes,
All right.
indeed.
Well, I thank you for that.
Yes.
Thank you. Now that we know, just like you said when you first start off, now I wish I knew before I started, and now that we know, God bless you, Giovannie. Thank you. For real, thank you.
If there's anything that you learned from this, it's how to sneak your way onto a red carpet.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. There you have it, ladies and
The
gentlemen.
whole conversation just existed so I could teach you how to sneak onto a red carpet. That's all. That's all.
We learned from the best of the best around here.
Yeah, baby.
There you have it.
Well, and that's the other thing, guys. I want to encourage, I don't know how many followers you have that are from Texas, but I want to encourage you guys right now to reach out to your legislators, because they are renegotiating our tax credits for film and TV. And the more we can get them to give us money to bring productions here, the more we will all be working.
That's what we talk about.
And on the stuff that we want to be working on, not like these piddly peddly commercials for, $500.
Yeah.
But like the SAGs and the TV shows and the movies and the Right now we've got Bass Reeves shooting here. We've got The Chosen shooting here. We've got a few things that Netflix is doing in Austin. But we want this to be as competitive as Atlanta, right? Like we want Texas, Dallas, Austin, Houston, San Antonio, El Paso, Marfa. We want all these locations to be as competitive as Atlanta. And right now, reach out to your legislators, write them a letter, tell them that you're in the biz, you're an actor, you're a crew member, you're related to an actor, you're tired of giving them money for Applebee's or, McDonald's because they're starving. Get these jobs to Texas so we can work.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're
there you have,
welcome.
ladies and gentlemen, Giovannie Cruz. We appreciate you for the nuggets and everything. We got to get you come back on again if you have time.
Happily.
Later on in the future.
Happily. Look, what is it? What is the expression? A high tide raises all boats.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
and I don't believe, like I said, I don't believe in gatekeeping. I will happily share any information that I have gleaned from my experience. It may not be applicable to everybody's experience, but I'm not going to gatekeep. There's room for everybody.
Amen to that.
I used to have that saying too, and then I stopped it because someone said it also drowns the boats too. So
that's what we don't like them.
I was like, well, I guess I can stop that saying.
At all.
Well, with everything in moderation, okay? Like
There
we go.
we're not, you know, rain is good for the flowers, but if a tornado comes through, yeah, it's gonna rip everything up. Everything in moderation, people. Come on.
Yeah, yeah.
Beware of them tornadoes. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you
Listen.
again, Jill.
Thank you, and thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate you giving me your time today.
Welcome.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay,
One more
go
thing
watch
before-
Guardians May 5th.